Welcome to Sleep Shaper, your destination for expertly crafted sleep stories that help you fall asleep faster and deeper. I'm Saiful, your host, and I'm so happy you're tuning in tonight. We're going to leave the day behind and settle into a place of warmth and tranquility. Tonight, I will tell you a bedtime story, a cozy tea party by the fireplace. We're going to imagine a peaceful evening with friends, sipping tea and talking about warm memories. Now, before we begin our cozy tea party, let's take a few moments to settle in, to let the day's worries gently drift away. Find a comfortable position, whether you're lying down or sitting. Just allow your body to relax. Feel the gentle support beneath you, the softness of your pillow or the warmth of your blanket. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or simply soften your gaze and take a slow, deep breath in, filling your lungs with calm, and exhale slowly, releasing any tension you might be holding. Imagine the warmth of the fireplace spreading through your body, a gentle, comforting heat, melting away any tightness or stress. Listen to the soft crackling of the fire, each gentle pop and flicker, a soothing rhythm, a lullaby for your mind. The rain outside whispers against the window pane, a soft, rhythmic patter washing away any lingering thoughts, any worries. Feel your muscles begin to relax, your shoulders softening, your jaw unclenched, your forehead smooth. Each breath you take brings you deeper into this peaceful moment, deeper into relaxation. Just let go. Let your mind wander. Let your body sink into comfort. Allow yourself to be present in this moment, in this warm, cozy space. There's nothing to do, nowhere to be. Just breathe, relax, and drift. Now, let's join our friends for a cozy tea party by the fireplace.
The evening air outside carries the crispness of a late autumn breeze, a soft whispering promise of the coming night. But within the cozy living room, there's nothing but warmth and comfort. The fire crackles softly in the hearth, its flames dancing in rhythmic patterns, casting flickering shadows that stretch across the room like a slow-moving dance. The embers glow a soft orange, sending bursts of heat that are felt all around, wrapping the space in an embrace of warmth. Each crackle, each pop of the wood is like a tiny lullaby, a comforting sound that invites relaxation and peace. The scent of burning wood lingers in the air, earthy and rich, mingling with the subtle, fragrant undertones of freshly brewed tea. A teapot, its delicate porcelain body glowing in the firelight, is perched gracefully on a small side table, steam rising in gentle swirls. The rich aroma of the tea leaves, the sweet and floral notes of jasmine, the spicy warmth of cinnamon, the subtle depth of black tea fills the air, weaving its way into every corner of the room. It is the scent of familiarity, of care, of something slow and steady. The sound of china clinking softly accompanies the slow pouring of tea into delicate cups, the liquid warm and inviting. The teacups themselves are fine bone china, their edges adorned with intricate gold patterns that shimmer in the low light. As the tea is poured, the soft hiss of steam rises like a sigh of contentment, blending with the hum of conversation as friends begin to settle into the space. The friends are gathering now, one by one, finding their places around the room. Some curl into plush armchairs, sinking into the cushions that seem to have been made for moments like these. Others settle onto the couch, the soft fabric beneath them a quiet anchor in the middle of the room. Their voices are low, gentle, measured but full of warmth. It's the kind of conversation that doesn't need to be rushed, that flows naturally, as if time itself has decided to slow down in this room, allowing for every word to be savored. The fireplace continues its slow dance of light and warmth, casting golden hues that wrap the room in a serene glow. The shadows stretch lazily across the floor, growing and shrinking with each flicker of flame, creating a living tapestry of light and dark on the walls. The room feels as though it is breathing with them, a quiet, shared rhythm between the fire, the guests, and the space they occupy. In the background, soft laughter rises and falls like a gentle wave. The sound of it is soothing, like the sound of rain against a window, familiar, comforting, and laced with nostalgia. The air is rich with the scent of the tea, of the fire, of old memories, and the warmth of friendship. The room hums with a quiet peace, a peace that feels safe and eternal. But beneath it all, there's a subtle undercurrent, a gentle twinge of something unspoken. Perhaps it's the way the flame flickers just a little too brightly, or the way the tea seems to offer more than just warmth. It offers a space for stories to be told, for truths to be unearthed. As the friends settle in, the space feels both intimate and expansive. The world outside, with all its noise and haste, seems so far away. The only thing that exists now is this room, this moment, this invitation to tranquility. Time slows here, bending around the warmth of the fire, the softness of the cushions, and the comfort of old friends reunited. The fire crackles once more, the sound soft yet present, like the heartbeat of the evening. The scent of tea, now mixed with the warmth of the fire, fills the room, drawing everyone in, coaxing them into a quiet, serene comfort. The atmosphere is one of easy relaxation, a perfect harmony of senses, sight, sound, smell, and touch, all wrapped up in the embrace of a peaceful evening. And yet, beneath the tranquil surface, there's a knowing. The evening is still young, and like the shifting flames, something is quietly stirring, waiting to unfold. But for now, there's only the warmth of the tea, the crackling fire, and the soothing cadence of friends settling into a space of quiet connection. The teacups are warm against their hands, their delicate rims pressing lightly against parted lips, as each sip carries the taste of nostalgia, the essence of time itself. The tea is rich, steeped to perfection, its flavors unfolding like a well-kept memory. First the boldness of the black tea, then the soothing hints of honey and spice, followed by the faintest floral whisper that lingers long after the sip is gone. Steam rises in slow spiraling tendrils from the cups, curling in the air like the distant echoes of the past, unseen yet ever present. The room hums with quiet conversation, voices weaving in and out of each other like a soft melody, punctuated by the occasional gentle clink of porcelain against porcelain. The fire crackles in the background, a steady, rhythmic heartbeat in the warm cocoon of the evening. The golden light flickers and bends, shifting like the emotions that ripple just beneath the surface of the gathering as one friend sets their cup down. The delicate chime of china against the saucer rings softly, drawing momentary attention to the pause in their words. Their fingers trail absent-mindedly along the rim, tracing the gilded edges as though trying to map out a thought not yet fully formed. Then it begins, the unlocking of the past. A mention of an old photograph, uttered with an air of wistfulness, causes a hush to settle over the group, as if the very walls are leaning in, eager to listen. Someone exhales, the breath slow and deliberate, and the flickering fire seems to still for just a moment. The energy in the room shifts, subtle, like the way a cool breeze sneaks through an open window on a warm night. "I found it the other day," the voice murmurs, quiet yet steady, like the first note of a song that has not been sung in years, tucked between the pages of an old book. I almost forgot I had it. A silence follows, but not an uncomfortable one. It is a silence that invites, that asks the others to step closer, to listen, to feel. One friend reaches for their cup, lifting it to their lips in an almost meditative motion, the warmth grounding them as they listen. Another leans back slightly, their eyes flickering toward the fire, as if searching for something within the depths of the dancing flames. Then a soft gasp, barely audible yet unmistakable. The name of a long-lost love is spoken, not loudly, but with a weight that makes the air feel just a little denser, as though the room itself has taken a breath and is holding it, waiting. The syllables hang there, suspended in the dim glow of the firelight, caught somewhere between past and present. The fire crackles again, as if it too has something to say. A shift in posture. Someone's fingers tighten just slightly around the handle of their cup. Another crosses their legs with slow deliberation, an old habit resurfacing from years ago. The teacups, once simply vessels of warmth and comfort, now seem like anchors, something tangible to hold on to as the conversation dips beneath the surface. The moment stretches, not uncomfortable but thick with meaning, the kind of moment where thoughts move faster than words. The steam continues to curl from the tea, rising and disappearing into the air, much like the memories now returning, one by one, unspooling like ribbons from a long-forgotten box. Then the sound of china meeting wood. Someone places their cup down with a faint, measured motion. A sign that more is coming. that the evening has only just begun to unfurl. And as the flames flicker and the tea continues to flow, the past edges closer, like a figure standing just beyond the light, waiting to be acknowledged. The room, once filled with the comforting hum of conversation and the gentle clink of teacups, now feels almost too still. A sudden weight hangs in the air, as though the very atmosphere has thickened, holding its breath. The soft warmth of the tea no longer feels quite as comforting. The delicate aroma of cinnamon and bergamot now laced with an edge, like a distant storm gathering just beyond the horizon. The fire crackles, but its sound seems to stretch, the pops and hisses louder, more pronounced, as though it too feels the tension in the room. The flames flicker and leap higher, casting longer, darker shadows that creep along the walls, stretching and twisting like silent figures in the corner of the room, listening, waiting. The conversation that had once flowed so easily now stumbles. Words, once light and easy, are spoken more carefully, measured, as if each one is being weighed before it leaves the lips. There's a hesitation in the air, a brief pause where everyone seems to be waiting for something, perhaps for the tension to break, for the moment to pass, but it doesn't. The first hint of what's to come is a quiet lowering of one friend's voice. They lean forward slightly, their cup held with both hands, their fingers gripping it just a little too tightly. The warmth of the porcelain seems to offer some comfort, but even that is fleeting, replaced by something colder, something harder beneath the surface. Their words are softer now, as if they are afraid of disturbing the delicate balance of the moment. "You don't remember?" they asked. The question slipping out almost against their will. The sound carrying a strange kind of finality, as if it had been waiting to be spoken for a long time. The others shift uncomfortably in their seats. The soft clink of a cup being set down is the only sound, echoing louder than it should, like the first drop of rain in a quiet storm. The fire crackles again, too loudly now, almost as if to fill the silence that hangs in the air. The room feels smaller, the shadows cast by the flickering flames, stretching and weaving into something darker, more ominous. A moment of shared uncertainty, shared guilt fills the space, thickening the air between them. One friend shifts in their chair, the fabric of their sweater rustling softly, an almost imperceptible sign of discomfort. Their gaze drops to the floor, unable or unwilling to meet the eyes of the others. The firelight flickers over their face, casting fleeting shadows across their features. There's something in their expression, something unspoken, but it's impossible to place, and then the words are spoken, quietly but unmistakably. "It wasn't like that," they murmur, barely audible over the crackling of the fire. But the silence that follows feels louder than any words could. The air seems to freeze, the warmth of the fire now muted, as though the room has drawn away from them all. The comforting presence of the flames no longer enough to ease the mounting tension. A ripple moves through the group, a wave of discomfort, but no one dares to speak, to break the fragile stillness. The scent of tea, once rich and inviting, now seems far away, as if it, too, has retreated into the corners of the room, leaving behind only the heavy metallic taste of something bitter. And yet the fire continues to burn, steady and true, casting its warm light across the room, refusing to be extinguished by the shadows that have begun to creep in. The tea sits in untouched cups, now cooling in the air, each sip a reminder of the warmth that is slowly being replaced by something else. Something harder, something uncertain. The shadows grow longer as the night deepens, and though the fire still flickers and crackles, it no longer feels like a symbol of comfort. It feels like something else entirely. A witness to something hidden, something buried long ago, now brought to the surface. The room is heavy with what is unsaid, and the tea, once a symbol of peace and connection, now tastes like the lingering memory of a betrayal long buried but never truly forgotten. The stillness in the room, thick with the weight of unspoken words, is suddenly broken by a soft but insistent knock on the door. The sound is small at first, almost tentative, like a hesitant breath, but then it comes again, louder, more certain, a subtle reminder that the outside world still exists even within this cocoon of shadows and whispers. It is as though the world outside has sensed the brewing storm inside, sending a quiet messenger to break the fragile silence. The knock reverberates through the room, and in that moment, the fire crackles louder, its flames flaring with sudden energy, as if reacting to the unexpected interruption. The sound of the fire, once a steady companion to their murmurs, now feels jarring, its heat somehow more intense, as though the flames themselves are uncertain of the change in the air. The teacups, untouched for several moments, rest silently. On their saucers, the stillness of the room amplified by the knocking at the door. For a moment, no one moves. The breath of the room seems collectively held, suspended in time. The shadows, which had stretched long and ominous, now seem to retreat slightly, as if the presence of something, someone new is enough to pull them back, to give way to whatever may be coming next. The friends glance at one another, each unsure if they should acknowledge the sound or let it fade away like a forgotten echo. But the knock comes again, more insistent this time. One friend stands slowly, their movements deliberate, as if unsure whether to disturb the fragile peace that has settled over them. They cross the room, their footsteps soft against the wood of the floor, and reach for the doorknob. The cool metal feels solid beneath their hand, grounding them, but the uncertainty lingers in their chest. The door creaks open, the sound a sharp contrast to the calm that had just enveloped the room. There, standing in the doorway, is a figure, a person from the past. Their silhouette is framed by the soft light of the hallway behind them, but their features are hidden in the shadows. their face unreadable. They step forward into the glow of the firelight, and for a moment, the room goes completely still. The visitor's presence is like a breath of cool air, a shift in the temperature of the space, as if the room itself recognizes them. The fire, still crackling in the hearth, now flickers and dances, casting shifting patterns across the figure's face. As they step closer, the light reveals the familiar lines of an old friend, someone whose name had been spoken many times in the past, but whose face had become faint with time. The years seem to have etched new lines across their features, but there is no mistaking them. A soft intake of breath escapes from one of the friends seated by the fire, their hands instinctively gripping the edges of their teacup, as if bracing themselves for what may come next. There is something in the visitor's eyes, a quiet understanding, a depth that speaks of old wounds and unresolved moments, a connection that had been left untended for far too long. The air feels heavier now, but not with tension. It is the weight of something old, something familiar and necessary, returning to the room. A soft exhale escapes the visitor, and they offer a small, knowing smile, one that seems to soften the edges of the room just slightly. The fire crackles again, its warmth now welcoming rather than unsettling, and the scent of the tea so heavy, with nostalgia and unspoken truths, now seems to ease like a gentle hand on the back. I thought it was time to visit quietly, their voice slow but clear, as if carrying a weight that finally finds its place. The words fall into the room like a quiet stone dropped into a still pond, sending ripples through the silence. They don't rush, but there's a sense of inevitability to them, as if this moment, this visit, had been waiting to happen, to complete some unspoken cycle. The visitor steps further into the room, their presence no longer just a whisper in the doorway, but a gentle force that fills the space. The firelight flickers around them, casting them in a golden glow, as if welcoming them back into the fold of the evening. The friends, their faces a mixture of surprise and cautious hope, glance at one another, their eyes seeking understanding in the quiet spaces between them. The teacups, once cold and forgotten, now seem to beckon again, and one by one, the friends pick them up, the warm porcelain offering a comfort they had almost forgotten. The air in the room has shifted, no longer so thick with tension, but lighter, as if something has been released into the space. Something necessary. Something that had been waiting for this moment, for this visitor. The fire crackles once more, soft and steady now as the visitor's presence, like a key, turns the lock on a door long shut. The warmth of the flames, the scent of the tea, and the quiet comfort of the room slowly begin to heal the unseen wounds that have lingered in the corners of the room, in the spaces between the friends. The evening, which had felt fragile and uncertain, now seems to have found its way again, its rhythm gently restored by the quiet arrival of someone from the past. The conversation begins to shift again, more gradually this time, as though the room itself is breathing with them. Slow, steady, a rhythm carried by the crackling fire and the soft hum of murmured words. The flickering flames cast shadows that seem to dance across the walls, the light softening, becoming more intimate. The warmth of the fire is now a familiar embrace, comforting but no longer urgent, like a hand placed gently on the shoulder. The teacups are still filled, though the tea has cooled slightly, taking on a new depth of flavor. Once delicate steam no longer rises in spiraling wisps. Instead, the lingering, warm, honey-burdened hint of cardamom hangs heavy in the air. Each sip now feels more delicate, as though they are savoring not just a taste, but the very essence of the evening, the complexity of the emotions that have been stirred. The friends sit a little closer now, drawn together by the shared space of their history. The silence between them, once thick with tension and uncertainty, has softened. What was left unsaid before now feels less like a weight to be carried and more like a choice to be made. The words that had hovered just out of reach now seem ready to come, but they are no longer urgent. There is no longer a rush to speak them, only a quiet, mutual understanding that the time to confront the past is now. One friend sets their teacup down with a soft clink, the sound almost meditative in the stillness of the room. Their gaze shifts toward the fire, the glow of the embers painting their face in warm shades of red and gold. The flickering shadows cast across the walls seem to mirror the emotions swirling inside them, uncertain, fragile, but full of possibility. They take a deep breath, as if readying themselves for what they will say next, and the room waits with them, the fire steady, the tea growing colder in their cups. "I've been holding on to it," they finally say, their voice quiet but firm, as though the act of speaking the words aloud is both a release and a revelation. But it's time to let it go. There's a pause, and for a moment, the fire crackles, louder now, as though the room itself is exhaling, letting out a long-held breath. The others listen closely, the silence between them no longer uncomfortable, but full of weight, the kind of weight that makes the heart steady, even in moments of vulnerability. "I've been afraid to let go," another friend admits, their voice softer, almost hesitant. "Afraid that if I do, everything will change, and I won't know who I am anymore. But maybe I don't need to be afraid of that." There's a gentle shift in the room, an unspoken acknowledgement that they are all in this together, that this shared evening, this cozy space by the fire, is not just about tea and memories, but about the courage to face what's been hidden for so long. Each word spoken is like a thread, weaving them all closer together, stitching up the frayed edges of old wounds that had never fully healed. The fire burns lower now, its embers glowing softly, casting a calm, steady warmth that envelops them all. The shadows are less sharp now, more forgiving, the light gentler, as if the very flames are embracing the change that has begun to settle into the space. The tea, once so hot and urgent, now seems to echo the quiet calm of the room. The warmth lingers without the burn, the comfort no longer masked by intensity, but by an ease that feels long overdue. One by one, the friends take their final sips, the porcelain cups cradled gently in their hands. The tea, once a symbol of connection and comfort, now feels like a quiet resolution, the final taste lingering on their tongues, a rich, full-bodied sweetness that will remain with them long after the evening ends. The warmth of the drink, the warmth of the fire, and the warmth of their shared understanding wrap around them like a blanket, making the world outside feel distant and unimportant. The conversation, now a quiet hum, turns toward more hopeful things that have been hidden beneath the weight of old hurts. Laughter, though softer than before, begins to fill the spaces between them. It's not the nervous laughter of earlier, but the kind of laughter that comes when the burden of unspoken things is finally laid down, when the ghosts of the past no longer haunt the present. It's easy, gentle, a sound that ripples through the air and settles into the heart, warm and sure, as the last drops of tea settle into the bottoms of empty cups. The fire crackles once more, sending a few last sparks into the air before it begins to die down. The embers glow softly, a quiet reminder of the warmth that has filled the room, of the changes that have taken place. And though the night is drawing to a close, there's a sense of peace that lingers, something steady, something lasting. The friends exchange glances, their eyes filled with understanding, their smiles soft and knowing. There are no more secrets. Between them, no more hidden truths to uncover. What remains is something new, a shared peace, a quiet promise of healing, found not just in the warmth of tea and fire, but in the gentle, steady process of letting go, of facing the past and choosing to move forward.